It's 2025, and there are tons of trends within data engineering and AI. Let's take a look at some of the top trends, the ones you should keep an eye on. First one to watch is generative AI becoming an efficiency driver. Last year's prediction that AI would turn data teams from cost into profit centers hasn't really played out as expected. While generative AI is delivering measurable productivity gains, its impact on revenue generation remains limited outside hyperscalers and niche applications. Coding assistants such as Cursor and GitHub Copilot are accelerating development, while AI chatbots and search tools streamline workflows, enabling teams to achieve more with fewer hires. Tech giants such as Nvidia, AWS, Azure, and Google, and LLM vendors profit from selling shovels in this gold rush, but most industries use Gen AI to trim operational costs rather than create new income streams. For example, many of these deploy chatbots to cut support expenses, but they don't monetize them. Our next trend is AI agents and reasoning models. Many data teams in 2025 are experimenting with agentic AI, systems that plan tasks and make decisions autonomously. These AI agents can break tasks into smaller steps, executing them, and interact with other tools. That said, current agents still struggle with complex tasks. When faced with ambiguity or multi-layered problems, they might misinterpret context, hallucinate, or continue running endlessly without knowing when to stop. The next wave of improvements will likely focus on two areas: more robust frameworks to balance agents' autonomy with control, and new models with built-in inference time computation, letting AI dynamically adjust its processing depth based on problem complexity. Techniques like chain of thought reasoning, where models explicitly outline their logic, show particular promise. We already see exciting developments in the field in early 2025 with open source models such as DeepSeek R1. Definitely one you want to keep an eye on. In number 3, we have massive and small large language models. The scale of model sizes continues to diverge. On one end, the big LLM providers, such as OpenAI, build their own data centers to empower their enormously large models, which soon might reach trillions of parameters. Those LLMs can solve broad, complex problems. On the other hand, small models, many of which are open source, can run on laptops or phones and are perfect for specialized tasks. Both approaches broaden how and where data teams can deploy generative AI. Modern models can also retain entire conversations or documents in their memory. The latest Gemini models, for example, handle up to 1 million tokens. While this reduces reliance on retrieval augmented generation, also known as RAG, for basic tasks, most teams will still use RAG for two reasons. The first one being cost control. Processing massive contexts gets expensive really quickly, and people want to be able to control that. And secondly, precision. RAG grounds models in proprietary data such as internal company documentation. These LLM advancements paired with autonomous agents enable new use cases like customer service bots resolving multiple issued tickets end to end, as well as cybersecurity systems rewriting firewall rules in real time during attacks. But along with that, the risk also scales too. Larger context windows could inadvertently memorize sensitive user data, while smaller models' accessibility lowers the barrier for spam campaigns or targeted disinformation. In number 4, EU AI Act makes data governance non-negotiable. The EU AI Act entered force in August 2024, with strict rules for high-risk AI systems such as hiring tools and credit scoring, taking full effect by August 2026. This forces teams to rethink data practices in 2025 in two key areas. Firstly, fighting bias at the source. AI systems must now document training data origins and implement bias safeguards. Teams need audit trails showing exactly how data moves from raw sources to model inputs. And secondly, granular control. Article 10 requires tracking who assesses sensitive data and why. Apache's Iceberg's merge and delete capabilities can help satisfy GDPR's right to be forgotten, while integrations with AWS Lake Formation enable column-level permissions. With orchestration tools like Kestra, you can add compliance to your data workflows through built-in custom role-based access control, single sign-on, SCIM, audit logs, outputs, and metric tracking and manual approval features. If you're interested to learn more, you can check out the link in the description below. Coming in at number 5, cloud costs under the microscope. As more AI and data workloads enter production, cloud costs rise. Data leaders keep a closer eye on how often they run jobs and how much storage they consume. Hidden costs like data egress, idle services, or frequent transformations can add up real quick if they're not closely monitored. Open table formats and smarter data orchestration with on-demand compute like Kestra's task runners can help cut costs. Coming in at number 6, demand for data lakes and open table formats. Cost optimization continues to drive renewed interest in data lakes, with teams combining open table formats like Apache Iceberg with object storage to balance governance and flexibility. The architecture often leverages Parquet files for columnar storage, while Iceberg's metadata layer adds critical features such as row-level deletion for GDPR compliance, schema evolution to handle changing data models, role-based access control integration through catalogs like AWS Lake Formation. This setup allows teams to query data directly in object storage using engines like DuckDB for ad hoc analysis, CHDB for lightweight aggressions, or Polar for complex transformations. While data warehouses remain common for managing mission-critical curated data marts, the trend favors open hybrid data house architectures with Iceberg at the core. Notably, major platforms like Databricks and Snowflake now also support Iceberg, reducing vendor lock-in risks as teams prioritize interoperability alongside cost control. In number 7, we see Postgres continues its rise as a universal database. The database world's Swiss Army knife keeps getting sharper. In 2025, Postgres isn't just competing with specialized databases, it's absorbing their capabilities through a thriving ecosystem of extensions and integrations. 3 trends define this evolution. Firstly, AI, ML, and OLAP extensions. Vector search such as PG Vector and direct querying of data lakes, Parade DP's PG Analytics let teams build RAG and analyze Iceberg tables and S3 data without leaving Postgres SQL. Secondly, hybrid workloads such as DuckDB's integrations enabling joins between operational tables and external Parquet datasets, while serverless Postgres options like Neon simplify scaling. And thirdly, protocol standardization. Many databases like timescale and distributed systems such as CockroachDB and YugabyteDB prioritize Postgres SQL compatibility to leverage its developer ecosystem. If you have a look at the 2024 Stack Overflow survey, they found that 49% of developers now use Postgres SQL, surpassing MySQL for the first time. This growth stems from its ecosystem-first strategy instead of forcing users to adopt new tools. Postgres integrates them, becoming what many call the Linux of databases. Boringly reliable and infinitely adaptable. Coming in number 8, migrations are still painful, but AI can make them easier. Even though many developers love Postgres SQL, migrating databases or moving workloads between on-prem and the cloud still takes a lot of work due to existing dependencies on proprietary systems. Data gravity is a powerful force, and legacy applications often can't just be swapped out the same way as modular components of a modern data stack. As a result, many data engineering teams stay on older platforms for years despite the appeal of modern technology. But there's a bright spot though. AI is starting to make certain migrations much easier. AWS Database Migration Service now uses generative AI to automate many of the time-consuming schema conversion tasks needed to move from commercial databases like Oracle to something like Postgres SQL. It won't handle every edge case. Proprietary functions and special data types can still be quite tricky, but it can significantly reduce the pain of database migration. This is a welcome trend for data engineers who typically face long, painstaking processes to convert and migrate data manually. Coming in at number 9, the engineering efficiency paradox. Some large tech companies like Salesforce have declared they will hire no new software engineers in 2025. Meta's CEO Mark Zuckerberg has even suggested that AI might even replace entire layers of mid-level software engineers soon. AI-based tools for writing code, building prototypes, and generating tests, as well as automating documentation, make it possible to move faster with smaller teams. Yet this doesn't signal engineering's decline. It's a recalibration. Jevons paradox plays out here. As AI lowers the cost of basic coding, demand for experienced senior engineers grows. Coming in at number 10, doing more with fewer tools. Companies face a proliferation of specialized data tools. To combat this complexity, teams are consolidating workflows into unified platforms, a trend often called platformization. Modern data orchestration now spans real-time streams, dynamic ML pipelines, and enterprise automation, going far beyond the traditional batch ETL. Open source platforms like Kestra exemplify this shift by unifying workflow orchestration using code-first or UI-driven approaches, infrastructure management such as scaling and deployments, and AI and process automation such as approval workflows and AI pipelines. You can orchestrate workflows as code or configure them in the UI using any language or deployment pattern. This consolidation reduces the overhead of maintaining disparate tools while accelerating development. Teams can collaborate on a single system instead of juggling siloed point solutions for scheduling, transforming, and automating data workflows. Coming in at number 11, AI in BI, Generative BI and Analytics. Generative AI now powers many BI dashboards. Instead of manually creating every report or writing SQL queries from scratch, analysts can describe what they need in plain language. Tools like Databricks Assistants, Snowflake's Cortex, Microsoft Fabric, or Amazon Q in AWS QuickSight help generative polished visuals automatically thanks to integrated AI copilots. Still, human oversight is critical. AI can jumpstart a chart or query, but domain expertise is needed to confirm correctness or address misinterpreted metrics. AI hallucination is still a real thing. And lastly, in number 12, evolving data roles. Generative AI continues to help data teams work more efficiently. Many routine tasks like writing transformation code, unit tests, or basic ETL pipelines can be sped up by AI-driven coding assistants. This frees up data professionals to focus on more strategic projects, such as designing cost-efficient data architectures and building data platforms to enable less technical stakeholders to build data pipelines in a self-served manner. These changing roles are also called for more unified tooling. Open source solutions like Kestra bring orchestration across data pipelines, microservices, infrastructure, and analytic workflows under one roof, helping teams move faster with less complexity. So to summarize, as the data field continues to evolve, staying adaptable, embracing automation, and relying on proven patterns can help teams thrive. Data professionals who focus on domain expertise and stakeholder collaboration will do well in 2025 and beyond. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Are these trends shaping your data stack? Join the Kestra Slack community in the link in the description below and share your perspective, or suggest a trend that we might have missed. We'd love to hear what you all think. If you want to learn more about Kestra, you can check out our website in the link in below or other videos on this YouTube channel. And if you're interested in our Enterprise Edition, you can also request a demo here too.